What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again, I'm here with
Gershwan.
and we're back at it to answer more of your questions in another For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. That's what Damian Henderson did. He asks, the Imperium has virus bombs and cyclonic torpedoes to destroy worlds. What technology/weapons does each race of the galaxy have to destroy similar fashion? That's a really good question. Let's start with the easiest one and the most badass one, in my opinion, the Necrons.
Yeah, the Necrons have probably the most at their disposal to destroy worlds, since they're one of the oldest races, and at the time they were able to destroy stars and whatnot. And I think one of the weapons that you forget that the Necrons have at their disposal is their Pokemon, the Catan shards. Just because a single shard is capable of destroying an entire army, and if a shard manages to fuse with other ones, they could easily rip a world apart. And I think that's actually what happened with, I believe it was a single shard of the Burning One. He essentially made the core like explode in on itself, and it destroyed a whole planet. It's crazy, but it happens.
Yeah, the Catan and the Catan shards are one of those things in Games Workshop where they really they sometimes feel overpowered, and then on the tabletop they're just
nobody plays them,
and they're pretty weak, and it's fun to kill them because they blow up and they hurt the Necron player half the time, anyways.
Yeah.
And then the Necrons also have I forget what they're called, but they're basically Death Stars, world engines. That's what they're called.
Yep.
So they just send out a beam of energy, just like the Death Star, and they blow up an entire world. There was a Space Marine chapter, I forget what they're called, Astral something.
Astral Claws?
I don't think it's Astral Claws because that's for the Bad App War.
Astral Lions.
Maybe, yeah. Lion something.
Yeah.
Lion Sables? I don't know. But they actually sacrificed their entire chapter in order to destroy a tomb, or not a
world
engine. A
engine.
world engine, yeah. Because they're just so devastating.
Yeah. I remember their color scheme was like gray and blue. Was it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Those.
Yeah.
Next race. Let's go with the Orcs, another green race.
So the Orcs actually have managed to steal technology from other races and use it against them. The most famous one is, I created a 40 facts video on the Centurio Ordinatus. They have these weapons that use sound to just basically obliterate entire fortifications. The Orcs managed to steal one. It's probably a relic from the Dark Age or the Great Crusade. They did what Orcs do and made it more deadly, and they were able to like just destroy entire planets once they put it on a rock. So just think of it, if you ever watched the old Hulk movie, the one with who was the guy before?
Eric Bana?
Yeah. So they use a similar weapon that just shoots out sound waves, and it kind of holds the Hulk down. It's kind of that thing, but just in a huge, big scale. So it shoots a sound wave at a planet, and it just disrupts everything to the point where the structure of the planet just disintegrates. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really badass. But do the Orcs themselves have anything that they've created?
No, not yeah. Maybe during the Olonor Crusade, there is supposedly some type of technology at the core of Armageddon. That was, but I think that was a relic from like the old ones. So no, the Orcs do not. Yeah.
Moving on to the Eldar.
I don't think they have anything specific.
No.
Even their Titans are okay.
They're not world-ending.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I can't think of anything that they would have at their disposal, at least now. They probably did back at their peak, at their prime. But even now, it's like they could use all the power in the Infinity Circuit to like fire a beam, maybe. But that's like sacrificing souls, and yeah, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Tau Empire?
No. If anything, they want to save planets and like recolonize and what's it called? Like change the weather and the atmosphere and everything.
So they have terraforming technology.
Terraforming, there you go. Yep.
Because even when you look at like the Manta, I think it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has a lot of really good weapons, but the key is that it has a lot of them.
Right.
And they focus on one enemy.
Yeah, because at the time that was their Titan killer, since they didn't actually have a Titan, but now they do. They have the Talnar supremacy suits, and even then, that's not strong enough to kill or to destroy a whole world.
Yeah, and then are we missing one? Chaos. Well, as we saw Abaddon, you just ram a battleship into the planet. Right?
Yeah, the what is it called? Black Fortresses.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the black. But even that, the Black Fortresses are old one technology. Yeah.
Space Marines, Imperium.
They have the Centurio Ordinatus, so they have an entire division within the Adeptus Mechanicus that specializes in that kind of stuff.
And the same things: cyclonic torpedoes, virus bombs.
Yeah, same kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we're forgetting somebody.
The Tyranids
themselves.
Yeah,
they just eat everything.
Yeah. And that's it.
For Skitarii, well, they're kind of part of the
Adeptus Mechanicus. Yeah.
Oh, damn, I still feel like we're forgetting something. Necrons.
We did Necrons, humans, Eldar.
Orcs, Tau, Eldar.
Yeah, that's all.
I guess so.
We could do the subdivisions between like the Eldar, but they don't have anything.
Right.
So, yeah. Next question.
This one is by Non-Sync. What will happen if somebody manages to finish the Emperor's Webway project? Or is it forever sealed? Because I think the Eldar can help with that one.
If they manage to somehow like structure the Webway within Terra, that would be life-changing for the Imperium. Because they no longer have to worry about warp jumps. They just use the Webway that was created. Yeah,
and that is what they did when they came on to attack Magnus.
Yeah.
Instead of warp jumping, they just went through the Webway. From Cadia to... Was it straight to the moon? No, they went somewhere else after Cadia.
I think it was just like they got captured by probably Tzeentch, right?
Yeah.
But then that was even a ploy because they captured them with the intention that they were going to break out and they were going to be led to the moon portal, or the moon Webway Gate. Is that what that's called?
Yeah. Yeah. And Gilliman fought Scarbrand and all that stuff.
Yeah, but there was a point that what was the question?
Who would finish the Webway project?
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So what I was going to say is that even in that story, the Harlequins, like Gilliman was surrounded by Harlequins, by basically Eldar. Mm-hmm. So there would have to be some type of communication between humanity and Eldar to say like, okay, so yes, you can use this super highway, but like, you need to respect us in the craft worlds and stuff like that. Or there'll just be a straight up battle for it. And I don't think the Eldar could afford that.
Right.
So, yeah. Good question, though. Next one.
This one is by Will Higgins. What if instead of waiting until the 31st millennium, the Emperor took control of Terra during the Bronze Age, after realizing he was reincarnation of Shaman? I don't think he would have, because his whole intention was to have humanity govern themselves.
Yeah.
And if he took control of humanity as early as that, then they're not in control of themselves. He's still like pushing them in that direction. The reason why he had to step in when he did is because humanity was going to kill themselves. Like, there's no denying that. So that's why he had to step in.
Yeah. Yep. Next question comes from... we've already answered that one. What do you got?
This one's by Cyber Demon. Do you guys play your favorite factions because you like the lore? Or do you keep the lore and gameplay separate and you just play them strictly because it's all about loadout skills and strictly business?
For my primary army, which is the Orcs, I love the lore and I love the tabletop units, even when they suck. Like I remember 7th edition, they were still, I wouldn't say fun to play, but they were still fun to collect. Mm-hmm. Especially because they had all those new models like the trucks, the tank busters, which I never got, but they were still cool. And then for my secondary army, the Skitarii, I don't like Skitarii lore. Like I think it's okay now. but like the more I read up on it, the more it's just kind of like I get it. Like they're supposed to be like religious mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you?
The Tau, I've always liked the lore of the Tau, specifically Farsight, and that's why I strictly collect Farsight stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to like the stuff that actually makes the Tau good, I never really jumped to it. Like Fire Warriors, they have the best gun, at least back in 5th edition they did. Riptide spam was the move, and I never really got into that aspect of it because I felt like, yeah, it's fun to win, but if you're winning using the best stuff, like, is it really skill or is it just like...
Yeah, I get you.
When it comes to the other ones that I have, which are Chaos and Space Marines, it's all strictly lore. So I feel like Space Marines are super bland. So I think that's why that army, I didn't really put too much thought in like actually trying to make it look cool, besides the aspect of the lore behind it, which is the lore that I've been creating for them.
The Celestial Sun.
Right.
Which we have a playlist, so
Yes.
check that playlist out.
Check it out. And I've also been doing showcases for the armies, so you could actually see them pretty recent.
What attracted you to the lore of Chaos?
Everything. I really like everything that has to do with Chaos because they're essentially Space Marines with more to draw into them.
I just realized that. So you like rebel factions. So you like
yeah.
Farsight, you like the Traitors.
Yeah.
Even your Celestial Sons, they're not really...
Right. They were loyalists, but then after the edict, they kind of renegade.
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
Interesting. I never noticed that.
What does that say about you as a person?
I'm a rebel without a cause.
We should do a what is that called? Like the surveys that you would see on Facebook. Like take or answer these 10 questions, and we'll tell you what army you should choose.
40 facts on Gershwin and the Sound Alchemist.
Yeah, based on what you know about us is how we're going to determine what army you should collect.
This one is by Cody Wilson. His second attempt. Let's make it 3. On to the next. He says, what do you think would happen if the Replicators from the Stargate Atlantis was introduced to 40K at their very best? Or maybe even the Borg from Star Trek?
I don't know either of those factions.
I mean...
From my understanding, they're just like...
They're robotic, aren't they? I feel like Borg are like kind of machine men.
Like really sophisticated AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the same thing that happened to the Men of Iron would happen to those. Like the Imperium would just destroy them with attrition.
Yeah. Because I feel like that's what the Imperium has at their disposal. They could just throw body after body.
Yep.
And eventually you can't keep up.
Vat-grown Kriegsmen.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't say that.
Next question comes from Saltwagon. Other than Nurgle, would any other Chaos God utilize a plague/disease? For example, would Khorne use a plague to make the infected uncontrollably violent and aggressive? It wouldn't be a plague. I think it would just be a sorceress sorceress sorcery. Yeah. Some type of sorcery to make humanity that way. There's been a lot of stories with Slaanesh actually creating cults, and then the cults enact a ritual that like is planet wide. So like there was one that basically Slaanesh stole the voice of everybody on the planet and only gave it to one person. And that person who had the voice was obviously the leader of the cult. Mm-hmm. But there wasn't a disease that infected these people. It was just the ritual that infected the people. So, yeah.
What more can we say?
That's about it. Next question. I have one from Marky00. Which Primarch did the smelliest farts?
Lehman Russ, just to go and not say Mortarion, because, I mean, he's drinking mead, going into bar fights, eating trolls and stuff like that. That's got to give you indigestion.
Yep. And he was lactose intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
And he drank a lot of milk.
Yeah, it's a fact most people seem to ignore.
Yeah.
This one is by Kyle Ellis. Are there any bigger theories or lore that you guys disagree on? For example, what race will finally be the last surviving in the galaxy?
That's not really fixed lore that we disagree on.
That's more of a question starter.
Like a controversial question.
Yeah.
because obviously you have a bias. You want your own army to be the number one.
Right.
I honestly do think that the Orcs would be the top of the top at the end.
It makes sense. Like the Orcs and the Tyranids seem to be like everybody else has like quote unquote morals, and they're fighting for this, fighting for that. But these guys are literally just fighting for their life.
They're pests.
Yeah.
They're just like rats.
Yeah.
So to answer that question,
Rats and cockroaches going at it.
yeah.
But yeah, controversial theories and facts that we don't agree with.
Oh, okay. I think the birth of Nurgle and the birth of Khorne, I think, are controversial. They have answers, but I don't really agree with them. Like, I think that is coming from like the old Warhammer fantasy lore, because the theory is, or like the thing is that Nurgle was created during the plague of humanity. But that doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, why? Like, what happened in the 60 million years before? Like, were people just not getting sick? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Or after.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, the bubonic plague, the black plague did, like, devastating works, but what if across the galaxy a whole world was destroyed because of a sickness?
Yeah. And I think Games Workshop has kind of hid this from because they understand that it's kind of like, well, I think that was fantasy lore, not so much 40K lore. And it doesn't really fit or mesh well with it. But yeah, that's about my... That's my option.
I'll go with the whole Sanguinius isn't dead anymore. He's in a near-death state in stasis. It's like, no, he died. Like, it was legit. Like, his whole story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it has to do with like best friends going at it because him and Horus were buddies. Yeah. Just kind of like the whole Fulgrim and Ferrus Manus thing. Like, they were best friends. Sanguinius tried to keep the whole red thirst away from Horus. Horus found out, but then the whole Horus going chaos, and then them two fighting for essentially the survival of humankind on Horus's flagship, and Sanguinius being the sacrifice that led to humanity's, I guess, rise, even though that's not exactly what happened, but it led to the Emperor killing Horus. Like, that has more impact to me. Instead of saying, like, his sacrifice wasn't a sacrifice. He's still alive.
Yeah. It waters down that battle.
Yeah. But, I mean, it makes sense business-wise, because, like, if you keep a Primarch alive, you can make a new sculpt and sell that sculpt, and then use that Primarch for other storylines and stuff, so...
It's just annoying that they're doing it to a Primarch that was verified to be dead, before even bringing the ones that aren't verified, that were verified to be alive back. Right. Like, bring back all the good ones or all the ones that were like in the story still alive.
Yeah, but, the Lion, Lehman Russ. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. And then this is going to be the last question by Maverick Azure. Do you think there is a place for love within the grim dark of 40K? Yeah, they're called pleasure worlds. Check out our 40 facts on pleasure worlds. But basically, they're just planets where Imperial Highborn can go to just relax.
Very rarely do generals and stuff like that retire there. Because usually, if you're in the Imperial Guard, you're there forever. Yeah,
most of the time, it's like high-ranking family members of like the Navis Nobilite or the High Lords of Terra. The military people, yeah, like you said, you're kind of blood in, blood out type of situation. But yeah, and then their appearance is very similar to ours, like all the good parts in our world.
Red light districts.
Yeah.
The golf courses.
So they're basically just Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
But a little better weather. They have the weather of a tropical island like Cancun, or no, that's not an island, but like a location like Cancun, but with everything that is the other one. And yeah, those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget that we have a Patreon if you guys want to support us, link down in the description. But thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, as always, this is the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out of here.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.